This is from Eva in the Netherlands. I think people assume surviving means the hardest part is over. For me, it wasn't like that. The memories didn't fade. They waited. And the older I got, the louder they seemed to come back. I rarely talk about this out loud. Not because I don't remember, but because explaining it feels complicated. People expect a clear story with an ending. What I have is something that stayed unfinished inside me. Before everything changed, my life felt normal. School, meals, familiar routines. I trusted that adults knew what they were doing. I didn't think about losing people. I didn't think about danger. I thought stability was just how life worked. Then I noticed small changes. Adults whispered more. Conversations stopped when I walked in. New rules appeared without explanation. No one sat me down to explain why. I just felt that something important was slowly shifting underneath us. People began disappearing from my life, one at a time. Family members, familiar faces. No one explained where they went. When I asked, the answers felt careful or rushed. Eventually, I learned it was easier not to ask at all. That's when staying quiet became important. I learned how to take up less space, how not to react, how not to draw attention. Silence felt like protection. I believed that if I stayed unnoticed, maybe I could avoid losing more. When we arrived at the camp, I didn't feel panic the way people expect. I felt empty, like my mind stepped back. My body kept moving, but my emotions shut down. It was the only way I knew how to keep going. Life there became repetitive very quickly. Waiting, standing, feeling tired all the time. Days blended together. I stopped thinking about the future. I focused only on getting through the next moment, without making things worse for myself. I watched people around me change. Some stopped speaking, some stopped looking up. I noticed something uncomfortable in myself too, the part of me that still wanted to survive, even when others clearly could not. Sometimes there were small moments of kindness. A look, a gesture, nothing dramatic. Those moments reminded me I was still human. At the same time, they hurt, because they reminded me of the life we were losing. Did you know, historians estimate that about 1.5 million children were caught in camps and detention systems during the war, and only a small number survived. Most lost their parents. Many grew up silent, carrying guilt simply for being the ones who lived. The day the camp was liberated didn't feel like relief. I remember feeling confused more than anything else. People told us it was over, but my body didn't know how to respond. I didn't feel safe yet. I didn't feel free. Freedom was strange. There were choices again, but I didn't know how to make them. I had learned how to wait and follow rules, not how to decide what came next. Even simple decisions felt heavy and unfamiliar to me. That's when the questions started. Why did I survive when so many didn't? Why was I still here? I didn't say those questions out loud, but they stayed with me, quietly shaping how I saw myself and the world. I realized something else then too. My childhood was gone, not paused, not delayed, gone. I would never return to the person I was before everything happened. That understanding stayed with me long after the camp was behind me. Afterward, everyday life felt unreal. Food tasted strange. Beds felt too soft. Laughter felt out of place. People expected gratitude, but I mostly felt disconnected. I was alive, but I didn't yet understand how to live normally again. Others wanted me to move forward quickly. They said things like, "You survived," as if that explained everything. I learned that people felt uncomfortable with what couldn't be fixed, so I stopped trying to explain what still hurt. So I chose silence again. I built a life, followed routines, and learned how to appear fine. I didn't talk about the past, even with people close to me. Keeping it inside felt easier than watching others struggle to understand it. Years passed. I worked. I formed relationships. Life kept moving. From the outside, everything looked ordinary. But inside, the memories stayed untouched, waiting. I didn't realize yet that time wouldn't make them disappear on its own. As I grew older, the memories became louder. Things I had pushed away started resurfacing without warning. I began to understand that surviving wasn't the end of the story. It was only the part that came before everything else. At some point, I decided to speak publicly for the first time, not because I felt ready, but because staying silent started to feel heavier than talking. I didn't expect relief. I just wanted the truth to exist outside of me. Sharing my story didn't fix anything. It didn't close the past. What it did was make space for honesty. I realized that surviving wasn't something to explain or justify. It was something that happened, whether I felt deserving or not. People often ask what lesson I learned from all of this. I never know how to answer. I didn't gain wisdom the way people expect. I lost things. I adapted, and I kept going because stopping was never an option. I still think about the people who didn't survive. Their faces come back to me at quiet moments. I carry them with me, even when no one else remembers their names. Remembering feels like the only thing I can still do for them. There are questions I stopped trying to solve. Why me? Why not them? Those questions don't have answers that bring peace. Accepting that has been part of learning how to live without constantly reopening the same wounds. Survival didn't make me strong in the way people imagine. It made me careful. It made me quiet. It taught me how fragile everything can be. Those lessons stayed with me long after the world around me moved on. If you're listening to this and carrying something heavy from long ago, I want you to know this part matters. Some pain doesn't disappear with time. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means what you lived through was real. I don't share my story to be seen as brave. I share it so the silence doesn't win. Remembering is uncomfortable, but forgetting feels worse. This is how I honor the past while still allowing myself to exist in the present. My life continued. I built routines, relationships, and ordinary days. The past never left, but it no longer controls every moment. I've learned that living with memory doesn't mean being trapped by it. If this story made you pause, maybe leave a thoughtful comment or share your perspective. Sometimes listening is enough. And if you want to hear more real stories like this, consider subscribing. Your attention helps these memories stay heard.